One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Whistles reports and paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Happy fuck it Friday, man. Let's fucking go. Man, much love, honor, respect to everybody in the building. Shout out to you guys. Much love and respect, man. We've got a humongous morning, as you guys can already tell. Not only from the title, but I told you guys in the chat before we started that we've got 11 stories this morning, so it's up today. All right, so what we're looking at this morning is Nancy Guthrie search as well as DHS funding deadline. Apparently, we do have that deadline this morning. U.S. deploys second aircraft carrier at Iran and more. Now, that's a big deal. That just happened, actually, in the actual mainstream media. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and give you guys a rundown of a chronological timeline of what we're looking at. So we're looking at Congress debates DHS funding as shutdown threats loom. So we do have that for you guys. I'm not going to, you guys already know what it is, so I'm not going to sit here and like expand on that extremely right now. Let's just go ahead and get this timeline out of the way. Judge blocks Pentagon from punishing Senator Kelly. Now, a federal judge blocked the Pentagon from punishing Senator Kelly. Kelly posted on X, quote, "Today, a federal court made clear Pete Hegseth violated the Constitution when he tried to punish me from something I said. This is a critical moment to show this administration they can't keep undermining." All right, so then we have Trump that spoke yesterday, by the way. Quote, "Largest deregulatory action in U.S. history." So it says President Trump makes an announcement. And now, as you guys know, I made, the show that we did yesterday, this is what they were essentially talking about. He was going to make a big announcement. This is it. So I have it for you guys this morning. Obviously, we didn't have it for you guys yesterday because it was after the show that it aired. So anyways, then we have Chuck Schumer coming out and speaking out. It says Senate fails to advance DHS funding. Now, that did happen yesterday, FYI. And we also have some new information on the whole Guthrie case. FBI gives description of suspect backpack in Nancy her case. Then we also have another update on that. FBI ups reward as search nears 2-week mark. So those are a couple of the Nancy stories, and then we actually have a couple of other stories, and then I think an update from the whole thing. But let's go ahead. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We have fraud, like written up like big time, saying fraud. Hawley accuses Minnesota Attorney General of multiple crimes. And this did happen yesterday in a heated, contentious hearing with the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison. Senator Josh Hawley was extremely critical of the Attorney General in his handling of fraud and fraud allegations in his state. The two disagreed repeatedly, and at one point, Hawley even had to somewhat calmed down by other senators. So yeah, they had to like make him like chill the fuck out. Interesting. We have that info for you guys. And then back to the Nancy case. FBI blocked from accessing key evidence in Nancy Guthrie case. Now, I believe that happens to be with some sort of like either sheriff or some sort of official over there in Arizona, believe it or not. There's something over there that they're like not willing to give up evidence or something. So I don't know exactly what it is yet, but of course we're going to figure out that shit together. And then Trump administration ending, quote, Operation Metro Surge in Minneapolis. That's pretty wild. The Trump administration will bring an end to the ICE surge in Minnesota, after reaching agreements with local authorities. Border Czar Tom Homan announced on Thursday. Yes, we did talk about that yesterday, by the way. And then regarding the DHS, DHS heading for shutdown as funding bill fails Senate vote. And then our last story is, and it's just breaking as of 2 hours ago, second U.S. aircraft carrier is being sent to the Middle East. So that is what we're looking at this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Another wild, wild morning. So anyways, let's go ahead and do our call to actions real quick, and then we'll say hi to everybody, and we'll get right into this. Make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. I very much appreciate all your guys' engagement, as well as hitting that subscribe button. Listen, man, this is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, Saturday morning for members only, man. So it's a great time. Make sure you guys share it out. This is how we grow. So I very much appreciate your engagement that way. Listen, let's get the money part over, though. Please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So I very much appreciate you guys becoming members and staying members. Little side note, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, the campaign trail, man, breaking news. Listen, it's all there. It's also a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one, so that's actually probably the best platform to do it. But we also have a community Discord for all of you guys. Make sure you guys join up on the server. It is down in the link down below. I very much appreciate that. Moderator may drop it for you guys. Make sure you guys join up on that. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, well, then we have these platforms right here that you guys can donate to. And, of course, I'll read out loud anything that comes our way, and we get to keep 100% of the proceeds. So I very much appreciate that. I've got the email up, so I'm ready to rock and roll at any time. All right, so great to see you guys this morning. We got Steve Easy in the chat, as well as Brother KP. We got Jimmy Mack. We got Tiffany. Good morning, you guys. We got Cameron as well. Good morning, good morning. We got Joseph up there in Canada, my man. He says, good morning, Mr. Ball, Lucy Breakfast Crew, Bob, and everyone out there. And can't forget the haters. Stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
It's because he says stop the cap that I have to read it. So appreciate you, bro. Great to see you. We got TNT as well. Good morning. And Lily, good morning to you guys. Thank you for being here. We got Pops in the building as well. I am Mount Woman's old man. Oh, shout out to you, man. Shit. That is awesome that you finally made an appearance, man. So Pops, the clubber, I very much appreciate you being in here and hanging out with us. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well. Good morning to you. We got Pitbull, Brother Pitbull over there in the UK. I very much appreciate you. And yes, he says, remember to rev that like button and drop the clutch on the share to wheel spin the show out of here. It helps out the show massively. Hope the Insane family are having a blessed week also, or had a blessed week. Yes, I see you. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for that. We got Frank in the building as well as Carney's riding, my man. Good morning to you guys. We got Pablo as well. Thank you all for being here. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you guys decided to be right here with me. So we got Lappy in the chat as well as Motobomb Virginia. Shout out to you. We got Steve Posey. All right, looks like we're getting pretty caught up. All right, let's go ahead and get into this first story because we got 11 stories to get through this morning.
An impasse at last check here.
But what they really want, what Democrats want, what they're working towards is unimpeded illegal immigration. They want to continue the terrible policies of the Biden-Harris administration when they literally opened the border wide. And we brought in about 20 million illegal aliens into the country over that time period, many hardened criminals, dangerous persons. They don't want any of them deported. If you put a judicial warrant in the way, it will impede the entire process. It will add layers and layers of delay and an impossibility to apprehend and remove many people because we simply don't have the manpower, the time, the court systems to be able to do that. Under the current, the way the law works right now, the Immigration Customs and Enforcement has the ability to issue a warrant of removal and to go and apprehend these people. The Democrats want to stop that.
I mean, I think that there could be a path there.
There's Mark Kelly.
What I need to personally see here is for DHS to completely overhaul ICE. Agency's out of control. Leadership needs to be fired. Kristi Noem at DHS, at the head of DHS, needs to go. And they need to put some professionals in there that know how to overhaul an agency.
Yeah, I'm not going to give a penny to more public executions. These guys don't want to be accountable, and so...
These fucking guys. So, their rhetoric is outrageous, these Democrats.
I'm not going to fund it. Otherwise, that just means another, dead nurse named Pretty and a mom named Good.
What about Congresswoman DeLauro's bill about not funding Border Patrol and ICE, but funding all other pieces of DHS?
I'm fine with that. It's ICE and Border Patrol who are doing the public executions, and the bodies are piling up, and people have said enough. We were told most violent people are going to be gone. Instead, people are running through the factories and fields where they work. We're seeing a 6-year-old battling stage 4 cancer deported. That's not what anyone signed up for.
All right, want to bring in Cameron Arcand there, political reporter at the Daily Wire, to talk about all of this and really what it means. Cameron, thank you so much for being here with us, as always.
Thank you.
And I want to start by asking kind of overall here, is an agreement even possible before that deadline?
Well, it's not looking great right now because right now I talked with a White House official last night. They did send.
Oh shit! I noticed you guys in the chat. I thought he was just coming in here saying hi. I didn't read the whole message. Pops, man, I'm super sorry to hear that. Yeah, I also just saw the other message that you put out there. Let me see right here. She wanted to say thanks to everyone for being so nice, and she will see you all in a few weeks or so. Wow, man, I'm very sorry to hear that. Yeah, definitely, she'll be in my prayers for sure.
Legislative text over to the Democrats at this point, but we don't really have any details public on what that could actually look like. Now, keep in mind, DHS encompasses a wide range of agencies outside of DHS and Border Patrol, and ICE already had a big swath of its funding already done and signed into law under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act last July. So that was already thing one there. But thing two is this encompasses other agencies, FEMA, TSA, the Coast Guard. And so there could really be wide-reaching implications here, but they want to use this as leverage to make some of these immigration reforms. But it seems like that could take a little bit more time.
And I wanted to ask what sort of impacts people could see kind of from all of this. If we do see a quote-unquote shutdown kind of go in place there, what does that really mean?
Yes, so this would be the only department that would experience a shutdown if there was a lapse in funding here.
So real quick, Rabbit of Chaos. He said she is being operated on right now. Her arm will need pins and her spine is crushed. They are putting rods there as well. Wow, man.
Probably wouldn't even see that many changes to the immigration operations. But if you remember from the shutdown last fall, TSA, longer lines, that could be an impact. Even an admiral in the Coast Guard was saying the other day that his people could go without paychecks, and certain operations outside of ones that are, really national security important could be stopped in the meantime if this does happen. So when you shut down a small agency,
yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
But an agency like this, there are some pretty big implications, even though the rest of the government would still be funded through September.
All right. And so obviously we already know the big DHS funding ordeal. Now we're going to move on from that, because we actually have an update from DHS and all of that stuff here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and get into Judge blocks Pentagon from punishing Senator Kelly. Let's go ahead and bring that up, and we will quickly discuss it. It's a quick little segment here. It's only 2 minutes.
We do have some more information on some breaking news that we brought to you right before the break. And if you're just joining us at this hour, this is a social media post by the Associated Press stating that a judge has temporarily blocked the Pentagon from punishing Senator Mark Kelly for calling on U.S. troops to resist unlawful orders. And a little bit more information about this after the federal judge agreed to temporarily block the Pentagon from punishing Senator Kelly.
No, I haven't seen much of him. I think that he's been doing like buying houses and flipping them or something like that. That's the last I really heard from him.
Who is a former Navy pilot. All of this from participating in a video that called on troops to resist unlawful orders. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon ruled that Pentagon officials violated Kelly's First Amendment free speech rights and, quote, threaten the constitutional liberties of millions of military retirees. Kelly, who represents Arizona, sued in federal court to block his January 5th censure from Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Right. Let me go ahead and read this. It says a federal judge blocked the Pentagon from punishing Senator Kelly. And then Kelly posted on X, quote, today a federal court made clear Pete Hegseth violated the Constitution when he tried to punish me from something I said. This is a critical moment to show the administration they can't keep undermining.
In November, Kelly and 5 other Democratic lawmakers appeared on a video in which they urged troops to uphold the Constitution and not to follow unlawful military directives from the Trump administration. President Trump accused the lawmakers of sedition, quote, punishable by death in a social media.
Shit, we got Carney coming in with the raid. Shit, shout out to my man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. Absolutely.
Days later. Meantime, Secretary Hegseth said Kelly's censure was, quote, a necessary process step to proceedings that could result in a demotion from the senator's retired rank of captain and subsequent reduction in retirement pay. Meantime, we are getting a reaction from Senator Mark Kelly, and this is what he said via social media, saying to...
Real quick, we already read that, so let's go ahead and move on from that. We got Brendan Smith in the building. Shout out to the First Avenger in here as well. Great to see you guys. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next story here. Trump made an announcement yesterday after we finished our show, and I told you guys that it was going to start at like 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and obviously that's after the time frame that we're online. We only are online for an hour. We report the last 23 hours and lead up to current time. So anyways, I told you guys about that yesterday. We weren't able to get to it, obviously. Now I've got it. And we're not going to watch the whole thing because the whole thing is 33 minutes. We're not going to do that. Trump can definitely take up some screen time, you know. So nonetheless, let's go ahead and get into it. We got Sterling Will coming in with the $5, by the way, saying, good morning, kids. Support the truth. Yes, sir. Very much appreciate that. Let's fucking go. Thank you very much for the 5 spot, sir. Very much appreciate that. And for the rest of you guys, you know what I mean? For the rest.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
It's true, though. That's true. Now you guys are all hypnotized and all that. And yeah, it works every time, doesn't it?
Denied.
All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring it up.
Who's worked so hard on this and some other terrific people. Thank you very much. But I'm pleased to be joined today by EPA.
Holy shit. Fucking Sterling Will coming in and dropping a 5 fucking banger, 5 gifted memberships. Let's fucking go. That is awesome news right there. Listen, because do you know why it's awesome news? Because it's not only helping me, but it's helping 5 others in the IWF. And check it out. Tomorrow morning is Saturday fucking morning, obviously. That's members only. So make sure you guys show up to that if you guys got one. So thank you very much for that, Sterling. That goes a long fucking way. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Administrator Lee Zeldin, who you all know, and to announce the single largest deregulatory action in American history. That's a big statement in American history. And I think we can add the words by far. Under the process just completed by the EPA, we are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding.
Real quick, we got Virginia Chaos in the building, and yes, it's not only a Friday or a Fuck It Friday, but it's a Fuck It Friday the 13th, you know what I mean? Shit.
Bruh.
Great to see you in the chat,
A disastrous Obama-era policy that severely damaged the American auto industry and massively drove up prices for American consumers. Prices went up incredibly for a worse product. This action will eliminate over $1.3 trillion of regulatory costs and help bring car prices tumbling down dramatically. You're going to get a better car. You're going to get a car that starts easier, a car that works better for a lot less money. In 2009.
So these largest deregulatory action. Got it. So it's got to be obviously with cars.
Barack Hussein Obama, his EPA designated fossil fuels such as oil, gas.
So all types of fuel oil, petroleum,
and other things that actually make factories rock and roll, and other things drive very nicely as a threat to health and human welfare, known as the endangerment finding. This determination had no basis, in fact, had none whatsoever, and it had no basis in law. On the contrary, over the generations, fossil fuels have saved millions of...
Holy fucking shit. Virginia Chaos gifting out 5 memberships as well. That's humongous, bro. We got 10 already? Shit. I very much appreciate that, Virginia Chaos. Dropping it like it's fucking hot. Thank you for that, kind sir. Man, that goes a long way,
lives
bro.
and lifted billions of people out of poverty and all over the world. And you see it with the blackouts all over where they don't use it, where they went to wind, intermittent wind, which is weak and ineffective and very, very costly, most costly energy there is. And people are dying because there was no air conditioning or there was no heating. Lots of other things, bad things happen. And yet this radical rule became the legal foundation for the Green New Scam, one of the greatest scams in history, probably as great, maybe even greater than Russia hoax, etc., which the Obama and Biden administration used to destroy countless jobs. And the jobs have been just decimated. Although they're all coming back because of tariffs, they're all coming back into our country at levels we've never seen before. But it raised prices and caused immense harm to the U.S. auto industry. We thought irreparable, but we've got them back. We're coming back now. I was in Detroit, as you know, with Ford, and they had one of the earliest plants from the early 1900s, and it was going to be closed down. And then when I won, they said, let's keep it open for a little while. Let's see what happens. And they just...
Yes, by the way, we've got 70 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side and hit the like button if you're on the horizontal. Listen, you guys don't have to like all this craziness, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here. So thank you for that.
Announces, you know, they're going 24 hours around the clock with that same plant that was going to be closed because of what we've done. For example, under the endangerment finding, they forced the hated start-stop feature onto American consumers, which unnecessarily shuts off a car's engine when you stop at a red light. In other words, the engine goes off. That's great. The endangerment finding was also used to impose the massive and really very expensive electric vehicle mandate, expensive in the sense that nobody wanted it. Everybody was going to be forced to buy an electric car in a very short period of time, even though you can't power the car, because we would have had to spend $5 trillion on power stations.
And if you really do care about the environment, you would look up and see the damage of what it is for batteries to not only make them, but then to dispose of them and what it does to our environment. If you actually give a shit about the environment, you wouldn't want to go all electric.
It's all dead, gone, over. These crippling restrictions
What's up,
were
brother
a major
Straight?
factor
Good
in
morning.
driving up car prices to unprecedented levels. And the car that you were getting was not nearly as good. In 4 years under the Biden administration, the price of a new and used car rose more than 22%, all to facilitate the Green New Scam.
My man Baker in the chat, extra surprise, good morning.
Without achieving any meaningful impact on the environment, but making the car worse. That is why, effective immediately, we are repealing the ridiculous endangerment finding and terminating all additional green emission standards imposed unnecessarily on vehicle models and engines between 2012 and 2027 and beyond.
Yeah, I fucking hate when YouTube does that shit to me, Steve Posey, especially on my own platform, which happens all the time. I go to type in my own chat and it's like blocked. I'm like, oh, dude, this is fucked up.
And will save American consumers trillions of dollars and will lower the average cost of a new vehicle by close to $3,000. Think of that. During my campaign, I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every new regulation, and we've exceeded that. We've instead done it 10 regulations. We were able to cut 129, so now we cut 129. So think of that. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every new one, but we did more than 10. We did 129. It's something nobody can even believe it. So we did a lot of regulation cutting in the first administration, a record. Nobody even
What's up, brother TVT? Good morning. Great to see you in the chat, and happy Fuck It Friday. Absolutely.
close to it now. We're actually exceeding it in this administration. The biggest one yet that we've done is happening right now. So perhaps no industry has benefited more from our historic deregulation campaign than the U.S. auto industry. We canceled the EPA's absurd, just totally absurd, tailpipe emission standards, which was a disaster for automobile manufacturing, and revoked Biden's emissions waiver that would have allowed California to regulate automobiles for the entire nation. And they're crazy out in California. They have nothing but trouble out there, as you know. That's why people are leaving.
Nothing but trouble, and that's why they're leaving? Well, shit. Bruh. I am a product of that.
Record numbers. They also ended Joe Biden's extreme CAFE emission standards, saving the average American consumer much more than $1,000 when they buy a new car. But now we're talking about close to $3,000. These regulation cuts, combined with our tax cuts and tariffs, are the reason why the world's largest automakers have announced that they're going to be spending in excess of $100 billion in the United States in the next very short period of time, building new auto plants. We're bringing our...
Yeah, Avenger, I actually have a graph here that showed to the very beginning of basically January 1st of 2025 and then January 1st of 2026. And the blue line is actually the U.S. dollar purchasing power, as you can see it going below zero, because I reset everything at zero on purpose to just see the difference in a single year. The gold line is actually the gold line of the purchasing power of gold, and then the green line is silver purchasing power. Now, obviously, we just had a little bit of a crash, a pretty big crash. It was like 30+ % crash on silver, for instance. But like all those things, absolutely. Like you can see basically the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar just decreasing day by day by day.
Auto plants, assembly plants, and factories roaring back to life, not even mentioning AI and all of the other things. We're building thousands of businesses in the United States. And if you remember, on my first day, they said if I could ever get the Dow up to 50,000 in my last year, in other words, in the fourth year, that it would be an unbelievable miracle. But don't worry about it, because it'll never happen, they said. And if I could get the S&P up to 7,000, they said in the fourth year, they said it will never happen. Let's not even talk about it. Let's not even waste our time talking about it. Well, at the very end of my first year, the Dow hit 50,000. Now it's over 50,000. And 3 days before that, the S&P hit 7,000. So we didn't have to wait till the end of the fourth year. We just waited till the end of the first year. We've never had...
Real quick, we got my man Virginia Chaos coming in hot on the Cash App saying for $20, little beer money for the weekend. Bro, Virginia Chaos, I really appreciate you taking care of me like that, man. Thank you for that. I absolutely will do that. Listen, man, I will absolutely get down with that. So very much appreciate that, bro. It goes a long way. Thank you for making it rain. Absolutely.
A country in a position like this, and a lot of it's due to tariffs, and a lot of it's due to the fact that we had a great election, and a lot of good things have been done. One of the good things I did was put Lee Zeldin in charge of our environment. So,
you know, Steve Easy, I'm surprised it's not a way higher number, to be honest. Yeah, that's actually shocking it's that low. I thought it would have been way higher than that. We've got Hardwire in the building. Shout out to my man. Good morning to you. Great to see it in the chat, bro. Good morning.
I'm going to ask Lee to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we don't need a few words. So listen, we've got 11 stories that we got to get through this morning. We can't get stuck on Trump talking for 40 minutes. We just can't do that. We're going to move on into Senate fails to advance DHS funding. Now, Chuck Schumer comes out and speaks, I think, here. Let's go ahead and bring this up. We'll quickly discuss it.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Thursday. And
yes, obviously this happened yesterday, but it happened after our show.
I get my notes.
I'm going to speed them up too.
So as you all know, from day one I've said unless there are really strong, meaningful reforms to rein in ICE and stop the violence, there will not be Democratic votes to fund ICE and extend the awful status quo that now exists.
Oh, that totally makes sense, Steve Easy. He says, it would have been higher, but they count pensions and 401k plans. That totally makes way more sense.
Well, today, Senate Democrats made that point absolutely clear. For weeks, we've been pushing common sense reforms, the very types of things that local police and sheriffs throughout America routinely follow. Today's strong vote was a shot across the bow to Republicans. Democrats will not support a blank check for chaos. This vote today asked a simple question. Will you rein in ICE's abuses, or will you vote to extend the chaos? Republicans chose chaos, and the Democrats, we refused. Republicans chose to put a bill on the floor that ignored the abuses, ignored the outrage, ignored what the American people want overwhelmingly.
Overwhelmingly? They don't want DHS to be funded overwhelmingly? I don't think that's true. I think that's very, very false.
And they failed to get the votes to avoid a shutdown at DHS. As we've said for weeks, if Republicans want to keep DHS funded, they need to get serious. They need to sit down. They need to negotiate in good faith, produce legislation that actually reins in ICE and stops the violence. And I'm proud of my caucus. Senate Democrats listened to the American people and stood together with one clear, strong voice. Enough is enough. We listened to the American people and stood together with that clear voice. The American people are tired. They're tired of seeing these horrific videos. They turn your stomach. And 90% of Americans say they've seen them. The videos of Americans beaten, snatched off the streets, treated like they have no rights. These videos are reminiscent of what you see in dictatorships. The Americans are tired of masked agents conducting warrantless operations in their communities, secret police. They're tired of chaos, secrecy, and zero accountability. That is not what law and order looks like. And Republicans simply cannot pretend that this outrage does not exist.
The outrage is within your shit. That's it. The government up top, Democrats, Senate. Very simple.
Responsibility now to step forward, heed the calls of the American people, and work with us to pass real reform. The path forward is simple. Negotiate serious guardrails that protect Americans, that rein in ICE, and stop the violence. Americans are watching what's happened in neighborhood after neighborhood across the country. They know it's wrong, they know it's excessive, and they want Congress, the Senate, to fix it. Senate Democrats showed up today for Americans. We did what they're asking. We did our job today. Now, Republicans have to do theirs. And as you know, we have asked for very simple objectives that is overwhelmingly supported by the American people and by a very good chunk of Republicans.
Brother Agrillipus, good morning. Great to see you in the chat as well. Happy Fuck It Friday.
I've looked at the polling data. While the MAGA Republicans don't support it, they must like what ICE is doing. Lord knows why. Non-MAGA Republicans, about 35-40% of Republicans support us. The public is crying out for change. Ready for questions? Yes?
Is there anything in what the White House sent over that you can find common ground on? And also,
now we're only going to listen to a few questions, maybe 2, 3. Oh, this is actually not a long segment. Okay, perfect.
What message does it send to you that the White House is willing to engage on the policy?
Well, look, first, I'm not going to negotiate in public and get into the details. But second, their proposal is not serious, plain and simple. It's very far apart from what we need.
But what's unserious?
Yes, I said I'm not negotiating in public.
What is in
Damn, dude. He said I ain't negotiating
Again, I'm
in
not
public.
negotiating in public. You can ask them. They sent it to us privately. Yes.
Is there a serious discussion about the proposal that would fund DHS or take out funding for ICE and CBP?
No, the way to do this, it's very simple. We should fund the whole package. All the Republicans have to do is meet our requests here and negotiate in a serious way, and we can pass the whole thing. Yes.
Leadership, what's your message to federal workers who now are not certain?
Man, he's just brushing off people real quick.
TSA, Coast Guard, FEMA, when they're going to get a paycheck next to be able to call into work.
Talk to the Republicans, okay? We're ready to fund everything. We're ready to have good, serious proposals supported by the American people. They're not. They're sort of dug in the ground, and they're not moving forward. Yes.
Why risk?
I back this sentiment right here. Stop electing boomers. Yep.
Coast Guard, TSA, all them. The Republicans have already pre-funded ICE to $75 billion. ICE is still going to be going.
Ask the Republicans, okay? And go look at the funding streams that are available for other areas as well. But just ask the Republicans. They're the ones holding this up. We're on the side of the American people. We showed today overwhelmingly. I think the Republicans I think they were surprised until yesterday that we would have a strong, unified vote. And our caucus is passionate about this. If you sat in our caucus meetings, you'd see how strongly people feel. And you know who are among...
Oh, my goodness, dude. Just whining over the top of them.
The strongest? some of the very people who didn't vote with us last time. You've heard them. They've put out their statements. Yes.
Mr. Sherman, can you say with whom you're negotiating with at the White House? And is Stephen Miller involved in these talks, given his views on ICE?
Look, we're negotiating with the White House legislative people, and they bring in other people in. Yes.
You guys have a proposal or a counter proposal coming this weekend. How do you see the next week and a half going when you guys are on recess?
Well, again, look, every one of the people negotiating on our side will be available 24/7 to go forward. But what we're waiting for is, again, the White House to get serious in the Republic.
See, you know how everyone says we should have term limits and stuff like that? The best way I think that we should approach shit like this is no one's going to go for the government. The government's not going to go for term limits. But you know what we should fucking push for? An age limit. That's what we should fucking do. Like, nobody should be 80 years old in Congress. You know what I mean? You're so out of touch with people my age and our needs and even like Gen X, for instance. Like, they're not even fucking close to relating to any of us. What the fuck? So I think that we should have age limits. Anyways, back to this.
To get serious. For whatever reason, they are stuck in a position that is not serious, will not end the violence, and will not rein in ICE. And again, ask them.
What's up, brother Kerry? My man from Rob's neighbor. Great to see you.
Ask them, why are they opposed to simple things like no roving patrol, like ending the roving patrols? Warrants, you ever hear that? The Americans are for warrants. Across the board, the average American knows you don't knock on a door and go into a house without a warrant. Are they against accountability? Where somebody in some outside group has an ability to look and see if there's been abuses, and ICE is a terribly abusive force. You've all seen it. Are they against masks being off and people not having identity? What is going on here? Why are they so adamant in a position that is so against the Constitution and against what the American people, even a vast chunk of Republicans, are demanding now? It's hard to figure out.
How can you just get up there and just full-blown blatantly lie?
Yes.
Insane. And then no one sits there and be like, no, actually, everyone just goes with the flow. All right, next question.
Already canceled Odell's delegation. Is it appropriate that Senate Democrats are still planning on going, just in case there is a deal, they would not be able to come?
Let me tell you, everyone will be available anytime if we break the barrier of Republicans not negotiating seriously, and we can come to an agreement that is serious and, as I said, that reins in ICE and that ends the violence. Everyone will be back. Everyone. And they said that at our caucus today, and be available. Yes.
To what extent are the public opinion shifts you mentioned driving your negotiating position? Do you feel validated as a result?
No, I just met with a group of 30 Minnesotans. They just came to my office. That's what's motivating us. When you hear what's happening, it's not America.
The answer is, of course not, Virginia chaos.
I mean, I was sick one of the videos I watched, not even the videos of the two people who were killed, but how they treated a woman and pulled her out of the car and threw her to the ground and kicked her. It turns your stomach. That's what motivates us. This has got to stop. It's not America.
This has got to stop.
Thank you, everybody.
This has got to stop. Okay, all right. That was insufferable. All right, we're moving on. FBI gives description of suspect backpack in Nancy Guthrie case. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly discuss it. We don't need to hyperfixate on this. This is a 16-minute segment. We're only going to watch a couple minutes because we actually have two other updates on the Guthrie case. So here we go.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. Let's continue on here.
What's up, Crystal Kitten? Good morning.
The latest new information now from the FBI into the investigation of the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, as they're kind of pinpointing the exact backpack they are looking for, also giving a description of the individual in that FBI surveillance video. And I will put this up from the FBI Phoenix here on Live Now from Fox. They are identifying details about the suspect in the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie. They've been confirmed. Forensic analysis of that doorbell camera footage by the FBI's Operational Technology Division. And they laid this out, what they saw in that video. They're increasing the reward to $100,000.
That's it? That's all the reward is? $100,000? Man, we put like $50 million on top of Maduro's head and shit. We have like the ability to like do all sorts of shit. We've got unlimited funding for, unlimited, not funding, I would say resources given to this case. And it's funny how the reward's $100K.
So new forensic analysis say it's a male suspect, 5'9" to 5'10" in height, average build. The suspect is wearing a black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. And that backpack they're kind of narrowing in on, zooming in on, and I want to put this up. What they
say, forensic analysis says male suspect, he's around 5'9", 5'10", average build. Suspect is wearing black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. Now, yeah, in that moment, but I guarantee you ain't walking around with that shit now.
They also posted on social media as they are hoping that this update description will concentrate the public tips they are receiving since February 1st. They say the FBI has collected some 13,000 tips from the public related to this case. They say every tip is received for credible relevance information that can be acted upon by law enforcement. The threat intake examiners at the National Threat Operations Center, FBI, supporting 24-hour command posts in which dozens of agents, investigators are assigned leads and tips to act.
No, Hardwire, there's definitely a lot missing from this story. You know what I mean? There's a lot that we're missing context, a lot of shit, and it just doesn't make sense. Obviously, and I think that's why people are interested in the case and why it's actually a hot topic right now, is because of the amount of conspiracy theories that can go on with this. I mean, the lack of information and just like, how the fuck does this just happen? Anyways, let's go ahead and bring up a next ordeal here, okay? So the FBI does up the reward as search nears the 2-week mark. So it was $100,000, as you guys just saw. Now it looks like they're bringing up the price of that. So it's interesting that I happen to say that. So look, you know what we got to do? We got to do the money part.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
That's facts, though. You know, she ain't lying. So I'm just saying.
Bruh.
All right, here we go.
Our Fox 10 partners there in Phoenix, Arizona, also doing a great job. A live look from Tucson, Arizona. Let's take you out to their live coverage at the beginning of their newscast here at 5 local time of what they're hearing.
That's right, JR.
The reporters on the ground are telling
or Junior.
Days ago.
The FBI is increasing the reward now to $100,000 for information that leads to the location of Nancy Guthrie and or the arrest of anyone that might be involved in her disappearance.
Yeah, we know she was forcibly taken out of the home 12 days ago, and the rest is kind of a mystery. Also, at this hour, new, the FBI releasing identifying details about the suspect captured on that Nest video camera, including the backpack seen in the surveillance video.
Fox 10's Nicole Christine has been at the scene all day today. She joins us live with the latest on what they're saying about this description. Nicole.
Yeah, good afternoon, Christina and John. Let's get right into the images that have been...
So, wait, it says FBI increased reward to $100,000.
...shared with us within the last hour.
Well, we just reported it as being $100,000.
By the FBI field office in Phoenix of this suspect. He's described as approximately 5'9" or 5'10", average build, and that backpack in the video described as a black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. You mentioned that the reward for information connected to the suspect, if it leads to an arrest or the location of Nancy Guthrie, now $100,000. Now, investigators have been on scene off and on throughout the day, but particularly this morning, we saw something we hadn't seen yet in front of Nancy's home, a white tent set up by investigators. That was set up this morning for about an hour, and it was covering Nancy Guthrie's front porch. Of course, that is where the Nest camera footage of the potential abductor was taken, also where the blood drops were seen early on in the investigation. That blood later confirmed to be Nancy's. While we couldn't see what was going on under the tent, Fox News crews were able to confirm there was a diagram showing human height.
Oh, yeah, that's bullshit. Real quick, we got 142 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap that screen. Hit that like button if you're on the horizontal side. Listen, I very much appreciate you guys hitting that like button. It goes a long way. You don't have to like what's happening around the world. I get it. A lot of chaos. But you guys can like it for me and what we do here, so thank you for that.
That was being carried by one of the investigators, and of course that could have been what led to this partial description of that masked figure on the Nest camera. Now, speaking of footage, the Pima County Sheriff's Department asking for the public's help yet again with potential evidence collection. The department is asking people who live within a 2-mile radius of Nancy Guthrie's home near Skyline Drive and North Campbell Avenue to check surveillance video between January 1st and February 2nd for anything unusual. That could be vehicle or pedestrian traffic that's out of the ordinary, anything that might catch your eye. Now, we spoke with retired FBI Special Agent Lance Lysing today. He explained why this assistance from the public is so important.
Now, I want to know why the fucking Arizona cop is not working, or whatever official he is. I know he's some sort of law enforcement, and he said that he's not going to give up certain evidence that in this case, which I don't understand that whole ordeal. All right, let's go and move on, though. We have a few things that we got to get to. Well, one thing before we get into FBI blocked from accessing key evidence in Nancy Guthrie case, report says, and I have that for us. But first, we've got to focus on Michigan real quick. Yesterday, there was a big ordeal that happened. There was a Senate hearing on Minneapolis immigration operations. And let's see, it says fraud. Hawley accuses Minnesota Attorney General of multiple crimes. In a heated, contentious hearing with the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, Senator Josh Hawley was extremely critical of the Attorney General in his handling of fraud and fraud allegations in his state. The two disagreed repeatedly, and at one point, Hawley even had to be somewhat calmed down by other senators. So let's go ahead and bring that up, and we'll talk about it briefly here. Let's go ahead and do that. Here we go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ellison, let me start with you. You're the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota. Do I have that correct? That's a yes?
Sir, you're aware of my job. You know the answer.
It's just you have to state it for the record. What the fuck? He's like, you know my job. You know who I am. Jesus. What the fuck? It's already starting rough.
Sir, you're aware of my job. You know the answer to that.
You're not going to answer my questions? Are we going to start this way? Are you the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota? Yes or no?
You know the answer.
Oh, my God.
You're in my courtroom now.
Jesus, dude. Oh, this is going to get rough.
No, you're under oath. So I suggest that you answer my questions. You the chief law enforcement officer of the state of Minnesota? Yes or no? Let's try another question. Are you familiar with the $9 billion in historic fraud out of your state, including the $250 million in the Feeding Our Future program alone? You familiar with that? Don't turn to the pages in your book to get your potted answers. Are you familiar with it? Yes or no?
Yes, I am familiar with it.
Very familiar, aren't you? Because the people who ran the Feeding Our Futures program came to you in your official office in the state capitol December 11th, 2021. And asked for your help in getting investigators off their backs. They complained to you for upwards of an hour about state investigators going after them, and they begged you to help them, and you agreed to it, amazingly. And we know you did.
That's not
because
true.
It's all caught on tape.
Yeah,
every single sentence is caught on tape. Here's what you said. Let's take a look. You said, it's not a question. You said to them, send me the names of all these folks who are investigating them. You said to them, send me their names, and I'll take that list, and I'll call the person over at Education who's investigating them and say, what's going on? Why am I getting these complaints? Then he went on to say, I already have my team working on this. What day should we get together to discuss it again? You made pledge after pledge to them. You said, we've got to make sure this guy who's investigating them stops it. You said, you have my attention. I'm concerned about this. You said, let's go fight these people, meaning the people who are investigating the fraud.
Wow.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you help them?
Are you going to let me answer?
Yes.
Please. We're all ears.
So first of all, you're cherry-picking quotes out of there.
Oh, he's got anger issues. I can tell you what. You could tell.
Please, we're all ears.
So first of all, you're cherry-picking quotes out of there.
Why did you help
I
them?
thought you were going to let me answer.
Why did you
Are you
help
going to let
them?
me answer?
Why did you help
You
him?
let me answer, and I'll answer you.
Tell the truth, and I'll let you answer.
I will tell the truth.
Good.
Let's do that.
That'd be a nice change. Why did you help him?
No, now see,
be a nice change.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't come here to be insulted. I came here voluntarily.
You came here for the truth. Let's have it. Why did you help them? The quotes are here. They're in black and white, and every member of this audience can listen to the recording. It's 54 minutes long. It's all in public. You can Google it right now and listen to it.
And listen to it all.
Why did you help them?
First of all, I didn't help them.
You did help them.
No, I did not. I certainly didn't.
You're saying you didn't do anything for them. You didn't.
Well, wait a minute.
I already have my team working on this again. That's not you?
I have my team assisted with the
Jerry.
information that led to the prosecution and conviction of these people.
No, you didn't. You didn't lift a finger to prosecute them. No, you did not. You didn't lift a finger to prosecute them. You had, BS. You had whistleblowers come to you as early as 2019.
You're the one talking BS.
Hey, listen, it's my time.
Doesn't know what you're talking about, sir.
No, sir. You now have encountered the truth and you don't like it. Why'd you take their money? Why'd you take their money?
I didn't.
You took $10,000.
No, that's a false statement.
$10,000 9 days after the meeting.
False statement.
You took $10,000. Here's what happened. They went to your office. They solicited money from you. They solicited help from you.
That's also wrong.
They came to your office. It was your official office. You met with them for 54 minutes.
No,
they asked you for help. You pledged it to them, and they talked repeatedly about money. In fact, it's all they talked about.
That's a lie.
Money, 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 money. They said, we will put our dollars in the right place. We will support candidates that will fight to protect our interests. You replied, that's right.
Oh, shit. We got Pablo in the building. Shout out to you. And we got Stephanie as well. Good morning to you guys. Great to see you in the chat.
They said if you are securing your donor base and securing your power base, you can act the way you want. You replied, money is freedom. They said the amount of money circulating, I'm reading the transcript, the amount of money circulating in our community today is powerful, and we haven't realizing it in a meaningful way. And you said, give me the specifics. And 9 days later, you took $10,000 from people who were then indicted. It's in your reports. Why'd you do it?
Sir,
was it worth it?
You know what? This is a theatrical performance.
This is the truth. This is what accountability looks like, of which you've had none. You helped fraudsters defraud your state and this government of $9 billion, and you got a fat campaign contribution out of it. You ought to be indicted.
True. Well,
that's the truth.
I think we've made the point. Let's keep the temper.
Well,
just
for the record,
I'll ask how I want.
He's lying, and that's the
Damn.
truth.
Oh no.
Damn. Did you hear how he clapped back on that little comment? Shit.
You ought to be indicted.
True. Well,
that's the truth.
I think we've made the point. Let's keep the temper.
Well,
just
for the record,
I'll ask how I want.
He's lying, and that's.
I'll ask how I want to. Shit. We got So Loud in the building. Shout out to my man in the boondocks of North Crackalacky. Great to see you, bro.
And that's the truth.
Oh no, this is all on the record,
no, sir.
Did you bother to investigate where the money that you facilitated their fraud for, where it went? Do you know where it went, what it was used for, the fraudulent money? I do, because we just heard testimony about it yesterday.
Because we were key players in the
hundreds of millions of dollars to terrorist groups, to transnational criminal organizations, to the drug trade, to drug trafficking, to child trafficking. And you took $10,000.
That's a lie.
And helped them do it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! You know, the other thing is, whistleblowers came to you as early as 2019. Let's look.
Man, this is like brutal.
As early as 2019, whistleblower. Don't talk over me.
No,
as
no,
early
you're
as
talking over me.
2019, it's my hearing, pal. As early as 2019,
don't call me
whistleblowers came to. Well, I should call you prisoner because you ought to be in jail.
Well, you see what you can do.
In 2019, whistleblowers came to you in your office and referred to you fraud allegations from Feeding Our Futures, and you blew them off. Listen, your own state newspaper investigated it. The Minnesota Star Tribune, the Partners in Nutrition, brought its concerns to the Attorney General's office in 2018 and in 2019, and you did nothing. You did nothing for years. The only action you took is, once all these fraudsters came to your office and asked you to get involved and offered you money, then you got involved. Then you took the money, and then you got involved.
They did not come to my office. You're completely wrong about that.
You met with them for 54 minutes, and you took $10,000, and they also gave your family money. They gave your family thousands of dollars in campaign contributions in addition to what they gave
false
you.
Oh, man.
This is completely untrue.
The New York Post.
Yeah, we know the New York Post.
Minnesota Keith Ellison, AG, accepted campaign donations from individuals linked to the $250 million COVID fraud scheme after they were in your office. The donations came on December 20th.
Sir,
you met with them on December the 11th, and on January 20th, the FBI knocked over their headquarters.
No.
That's the sequence of events here.
No, it's not.
You've
the
been
sequence
right
of
at the
events.
center of this fraud
It's not
thing
the
from the
sequence of
beginning,
events.
and
It's
you've
untrue.
enabled it. And, sir,
The false
you
statement.
should resign.
And, sir, you should resign. I was thinking the same thing about you.
Should resign.
I was thinking the exact same thing about you.
I'm sure after encountering this truth, you are, because it hurts to have accountability, doesn't it?
Because after this parade
It
of
hurts to have
lies and
accountability.
presentation,
Time has
I think you should be
expired.
ashamed for misrepresentation.
Time has expired.
Oh my God, dude. All right, that's the end of that. So now we're gonna move into FBI has now blocked from, or has been blocked from accessing key evidence in Nancy Guthrie case, report says. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we will discuss it briefly here.
Top of mind is going to be the Nancy Guthrie investigation tonight. We are getting live vantage points from the ground and from the sky as Fox's drone team continues to monitor any and all movements that we've been tracking. Investigators continuing to work on the house. We did see
They have
earlier
a
today
live
that a white
drone
tent went up
feed.
momentarily in front of the house.
Damn.
Not exactly sure what they were doing, but perhaps with time we will learn a little bit more about what exactly they've been doing. Some breaking news coming into the newsroom.
I got you, Jimmy. Shit.
Within the past half hour or so, Fox News Digital's Michael Ruiz with this, saying that there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect between the local authorities there in southern Arizona and some of the federal agents like the FBI that have been working on this investigation. Ruiz with this, saying Sheriff Nanos, he's with the Pima County Sheriff's Department, Nanos sent a glove recovered from inside the home to a private lab in Florida rather than the FBI's lab in Virginia, according
Yeah, this is weird, by the way. Fucking 12 days later, or whatever the case is, 11 days, 12 days later, they find some fucking glove.
to a source. The feds will likely need to retest themselves, wasting time, he says. Ruiz also sent something out earlier saying that a federal source confirmed
Inside the home to a private lab in Florida.
to him that the Arizona sheriff has blocked the FBI from key evidence in the Guthrie case. So this is something that we're learning more about tonight. Perhaps we will get some official word from Pima County or from the FBI as the night progresses. We will let you know if we hear any official word from these agencies. Let's bring in former FBI agent Scott Duffy. He's here. And Scott, what I want to do today is just go over some of the breaking news of the day and also go over some of our questions that are coming in from audience members. Viewers have been watching Andy's broadcast. We've been showing viewer questions all evening. We're going to continue doing that for the rest of the evening. Before we get into the audience questions, though, I got to start with this reporting from Michael. It does seem that a glove that was recovered from inside the home, that itself is a piece of news, by the way. A glove recovered inside the home. It was sent to a private lab in Florida.
Okay, it was found inside the home. You guys had the feds, local authorities, all of this going into this house trying to figure out whatever evidence they can get. You're telling, I mean, they're uncovering manholes and shit on the property and properties around them. And then you just randomly find some random fucking glove that matches the fucking guy inside the fucking home? I highly doubt that. There has to be hundreds of fucking feds going in there, observing, taking pictures, fucking doing the whole crime scene thing. You're telling me 12 days later they found that shit? A lot of this timeline is just not adding up.
Rather than the FBI's lab in Virginia. Can you speak to me a little bit about...
We got Mr. J.R. Bowling in the chat, by the way. Alabama's next state senator. Let's fucking go. For District 4. Let's fucking go, man. Great to see you in the chat. Happy Fuck It Friday.
How federal officials and local officials typically work together on collecting and examining evidence.
Yeah, good evening, Austin, and thanks for having me on. Of
course.
So I can speak to the cooperation between federal, state, and local from my standpoint in my 22 years in the FBI in Delaware. We had a fantastic collaboration. Being on a task force, we had police officers from a multitude of police departments throughout the state, and we ensured, and that is federal, state, and local, that it needed to be a good working relationship. The movies, you see these typical rifts between the feds and the...
I can't help it, dude. I've got a question for this guy.
Why are you gay?
I can't listen to him. He's pretty rough, man. His inflection and all of that, it's just rough. It's hard to listen to. Let me see if we have any other evidence of this. Hold on. Since Nancy's blood was found near the front door, shouldn't there be footage of the kidnapper leaving with her also? Okay, so these are people asking questions live on the air. That's what's happening. And this guy's answering them. So let me go ahead and see how he answers this.
I would believe there is footage from those cameras as long as somebody passed through, causing, especially if they're motion detected footage. So good question. And the question I had with regards to the individual going up, because of the demeanor, because of the lack of urgency, because of just this kind of nonchalant, almost as if it's just somebody delivering a package, right? There's no harm, no foul. I'm just going to drop something off.
Hell yeah, Prez.
And so be it. So my thought, not knowing if there's a timestamp or...
Yeah, there's a 24/7 drone feed. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
If somebody has that information that was already given.
So, Jack, good morning.
When is this footage that was released to us took place? Was this right when the person arrives on scene, before anybody, if there's more than one, enters into the house? Or is it after the house has been entered, and so thereby one or others going outside to do a perimeter check, no different than law enforcement, to make sure the everything is clear, and so thereby, hey, there's a doorbell camera. Let me go and see if I can dislodge that camera, because if it was the first time somebody coming up to that house, leaving the street and going to the property, how is that person not for a second thinking there's a camera there? It's probably alerting somebody's phone. Is it alerting somebody else's phone outside of...
Real quick, Adrian says, I think she's not alive. Well, here's my sad thinking of it is chick's, 84 years old, right? She has, we found out she needs her blood pressure medication from her family. They told her, or told the world. Do you think these kidnappers or whoever took her is going to her medicine cabinet going like, oh, we need to grab your blood pressure medication. We need to get this medication. We need to get this medication. And then we'll go? No. Exactly. So rough situation. I'm not really sure what the hell this whole ordeal is about, man. And that's why everyone's interested in it, because there's so many things not adding up. And this is when, interest happens within the public. So anyways, we're going to move on. We have Trump administration ending Operation Metro Surge in Minneapolis. We're going to not play this entire thing, but we are going to play a little bit of it here because we've got some big news, actually two big stories here afterwards. We have DHS heading for shutdown as funding bill fails Senate vote. And then we have, of course, the breaking news this morning, the big shapeshifter of the world happening today. This morning, right before we started the show, second U.S. aircraft carrier is being sent to the Middle East. So that's happening right now. So anyways, let's go ahead and do this first.
The ice surge in Minnesota is coming to an end. That's what Border Czar Tom Homan said earlier on today at a press conference. Of course, it's been a tragic few weeks, a month to start 2026 there following these immigration enforcement operations. I want to put up a post from the Associated Press talking about federal authorities announced the end of this crackdown in Minnesota.
Yes, by the way, Agrillipus says 223 people watching and only 47 likes. Double tap that screen, like the stream, and subscribe to enjoy more of what Mike does. I very, very much appreciate that, homie. Absolutely.
That led to mass
hit the like button,
protests, and to deaths. Let's continue on here on Live Now from Fox and bring into the conversation from our Fox 9 team. So Young Kim, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And obviously there's a pullback of federal enforcement officers there. What can you tell us?
Hey, Andy, we're here at the site of Alex Preddy's memorial, and we've been speaking with people and getting their reaction about Border Czar Tom Homan's announcement that Operation Metro Surge is coming to an end. And many people we're hearing are echoing Governor Tim Walz's reaction to the news. They say they're cautiously optimistic, but they also say the work doesn't end just because the federal officers are departing Minnesota. Take a listen.
Even if they go, there's a lot to be done. A lot of it is healing.
A lot of it's the small business. A lot of the murders that happened here.
Why is he shaking like that, man? You all right, buddy?
And the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy here near 26th Street and Nicollet Avenue in Minneapolis on January 24th is where we saw Operation Metro Surge begin to shift. Shortly after, Border Czar Tom Homan took over command of the surge. Now, just a couple hours ago, Homan announcing a complete drawdown is in the works. Operation Metro Surge began in Minnesota on December 1st. At the height of the surge, there were 3,000 federal immigration officers in Minnesota. Homan says they're ending the surge because they've accomplished what they set out to, and says they think they're leaving the state safer after making 4,000 arrests and have commitments from state and local law enforcement for more coordination to arrest public safety threats in jails. And also, Homan speaking today, he also acknowledged there were some issues with the operation when he arrived, but says he was able to streamline chain of command, increase communication with state and local partners, and made clear there is zero tolerance for misconduct. And Homan says the drawdown process has already begun and will go into next week. For now, live in Minneapolis, I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you so much, So Young.
Nice. All right, well, let's go ahead and leave it at that, because that is the... Now they're going to bring on someone, I'm sure, to like talk and discuss. Oh, wait, hold on. We've got Mr. Tim Walz. Tampon Tim, whatever you'd like to call him. Let's go ahead and figure out what's being said here, actually. I'm interested in that.
The federal government needs to pay for what they broke here. This from the governor says he demands the federal government be held accountable after Trump administration announced the end of its immigration surge operation in the...
Held accountable? Bro, you're not in a very good position to be asking people to be held accountable. Just saying.
Let's take you out to Tim Walz from earlier on today speaking about this subject. Let's listen in here on Live from Fox.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start today expressing a deep sense of gratitude and a deep sense of pride to my fellow Minnesotans. Over the past 6 weeks, the state of Minnesota and the people of this great state have endured an unprecedented federal invasion in all aspects of life. Our sense of normalcy was shook to the core. The trauma that's been inflicted, certainly across an immigrant community, but to every single Minnesotan, is unlike anything we've witnessed. We've been through challenges. We've been through natural disasters. We've been through COVID. But this is something that I don't think any state has ever experienced. And through that entire time, the dignity, the compassion, the love, the care, and the absolute determination to do what was right never wavered amongst Minnesotans, whether it was standing in minus 40 degrees temperatures or it was delivering food to a family that simply wanted to feed their children. Minnesotans never wavered. And for that, I will be forever grateful. I think it's probably safe to say the rest of the country will be forever grateful, because they showed what it means to stand up for what's right, to stand up for the true principles of this country, to stand with the Constitution, and to stand with human decency. And so I want to note that the announcement today by Mr. Homan, we are cautiously optimistic, as we've said, and that this surge of untrained, aggressive federal agents...
Oh my God, dude. What's up, brother GEG? Great to see you in the chat, bro. You know what this guy needs to do, Tim? You know, you need to embrace your fuck-ups, bro.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace it, Tampon Timmy. Come on, man.
Are going to leave Minnesota. And I guess they'll go wherever they're going to go. But the fact of the matter is, they left us with deep damage, generational trauma.
Stop the cap.
They left us with economic ruin in some cases. They left us with many unanswered questions. Where?
No, what was left is, well, let's just put it nicely.
Emotional, damn it.
Look at that face. That is an emotionally damaged human being. Poor Timmy.
Are our children? Where and what is the process of the investigations into those that were responsible for the deaths of Renee and Alex? So while the federal government may move on to whatever next thing they want to do, the state of Minnesota and our administration is unwaveringly focused on the recovery of what they did. And there will be many steps in this process, many answers that we still need to get and will pursue. But as we started earlier this week, one of the first things we can do and what we're focusing on today is what can we start doing on the economic recovery, the damage that has been done to our economy, specifically to small business owners, and even more specifically to immigrant small business owners, which for every other administration and for most of our history is the epitome of the American dream. Come to this country with nothing and build something to be proud of, build something that creates jobs, build something that creates this incredible diversity and a food scene across this state that is second to none, to entrepreneurship, to the work that they've done. Meeting a few weeks ago down at the Hmong market, and a gentleman who came here and got a food
Oh my God, here we go.
stall, and 3 of his children are now medical doctors that went through American universities, become medical doctors to help make this state the best for healthcare. Those are stories we should be celebrating, not dangerous police chases through peaceful neighborhoods, not little boys in little backpacks being hauled away, and not mourning of parents and family for American and Minnesota citizens being killed on the streets. So, Minnesota, on behalf of not just this state, but the country, thank you. That same energy now needs to be directed towards recovery, to finding ways that people have done during these challenging months to go forward. So I want to say this damage is still being assessed, but we do know, and you're going to hear from some folks, you're going to hear from Henry, you'll hear from Commissioner Baerlich about where we're at on the front end of this, and we're going to be proposing a reinstitution of our small business emergency fund. It's what we used very successfully during COVID in the recovery and the economic recovery that we saw in Minnesota that outpaced most of the rest of the country. We're going to be proposing a first-time $10 million one-time targeted loans, forgivable loans that we know, and I want to be very clear, is a very small piece of this, but
why are we talking about loans now?
What I am going to challenge as we get ready to start here in a few days, the legislative session, this legislative session needs to be about recovery of the damage that's been done to us. I am also asking our team, and I'm going to make appeals to our federal delegation, the federal government needs to pay for what they broke here. There are going to be accountability on the things that happened, but one of the things is...
You're not in the best position to be demanding accountability, homie. It's not a good look.
The incredible and immense costs that were borne by the people of this state, the federal government needs to be responsible. You don't get to break things and then just leave without doing something about it. So we're going to be asking the federal delegation to be investing and doing the things necessary. We have been in contact with federal leadership as a negotiation is happening right now on DHS funding.
What's up, Nomadic? Great to see you in the chat.
And all of the things that we have an expectation, whether it be the investigations, whether it be going forward, no masks, because this... I got to tell you, one of the things, and I'm in contact with a lot of my colleagues, both at the federal level with the Senate and the House, but especially governors. I don't want these folks showing up somewhere else and doing this. So the changes that need to be made, the investments that need to come back, they need to show, they being the federal government and they being this administration, they need to do more. But I'm not going to hold my breath that the federal government's going to do the right thing. What I am going to do is I'm going to bet on the people of this state. And when we come into this legislative session, an expectation is this should be a bipartisan effort to protect these businesses, to protect what we have in Minnesota, to make changes here to improve this state. That should be very easy. And I think we've seen just some of the data surrounding this. There's very few things in this state that are more unpopular than what just happened to us. And there's few things that are more popular than recovery and supporting small businesses. So Minnesota, I know you've been through a lot. I know that we're still in the deep part of winter, but it's going to be 40 today here. The sun's going to be shining, probably a pretty good metaphor for spring is out there, summer over the horizon, but it's going to take a lot of work. So the expectation is of myself and our administration and the elected leaders, we get busy in this legislative session and start repairing the damage from this, start putting in safeguards that it doesn't happen again. And I think using the momentum that we have to celebrate, Minnesota's reputation has been pretty well solidified out there of caring, gritty people who back down to nothing and do the right thing for their neighbors. And I think now we continue that same attitude into this legislative session and into this recovery to help the folks standing behind me and thousands of others to get back what they do best, creating jobs, creating opportunities, creating a good life, being able to see their children go off to school and then celebrate by, watching a baseball game when things start up here this spring. We're not asking that much, but there's going to be work to do. You've got our pledge that we will do everything possible to make that happen. And today is a very small first step, but it is a concrete step that can make a difference. With that, I'm going to turn to Deed Commissioner Matt Baerlich to talk a little bit about how...
Yeah. All right. That was rough. That gave me some emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
All right. We have 2 more stories here we got to get through. DHS heading for shutdown as funding bill fails Senate vote. And then we have, after that, the shapeshifter of the world news for the morning. A second U.S. aircraft carrier is being sent to the Middle East, and that is being reported right before we started the show this morning. So, anyways, let's go ahead and bring this up first, and let's rock and roll.
All right, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall, a live look at the White House. We've been tracking some of the back and forth between the White House and congressional Democrats. A shutdown for the Department of Homeland Security appears certain as Democratic lawmakers in the White House have been sparring over funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Those negotiations stalling today. Chad Pergram with an explainer.
The motion is not agreed to.
Another month, another partial shutdown. This time, DHS.
TSA is not going to get paid. FEMA's not going to get paid.
There's no deal to reform ICE, so Democrats blocked even a makeshift spending plan.
A lack of seriousness from the White House and from Republicans not getting language until last night has put us in the position we are in today.
Republicans claim Democrats prefer to use ICE as a political wedge rather than fix the problem.
Why? So that you can posture politically. I'm over it. I have reports of TSA agents sleeping in their car.
One Democrat downplayed immediate shutdown consequences, but a prolonged shutdown is a problem.
There's absolutely no reason for workers to be furloughed because there's more than enough money to keep those organizations operating for the next couple of weeks.
The lone Democrat who voted yes on the test vote said his party's DHS tactic is misguided.
ICE has plenty of money, and that vote to shut DHS down will have no functional impact on ICE.
One veteran lawmaker worries about the frequency of shutdowns.
The normalization of...
Thank you for that, Stephanie. And by the way, yes, we have 201 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Hit that like button if you're on the horizontal. Listen, you don't have to like all this craziness, but you can like it for me and what we do here. So thank you.
Shutdowns is a stupid and very costly process in terms of morale of our federal employees who see themselves as pawns.
After the final vote, many lawmakers traded in legislation for later hosen, flying to the annual Munich Security Conference.
They're about ready to shut down the TSA while they gallivant over to Europe and badmouth American foreign policy.
The shutdown could prevent the military from taking some lawmakers to Munich, and it's unclear if they're reimbursed for flying commercial. A shutdown could last at least 2 weeks. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Okay, so live look at the White House as we...
Yes, this was last night, right? Let's go ahead and double check that. Yes, last night.
Play out a little bit of what we've been hearing from lawmakers.
It could have been super early in the morning. That's why I was thinking that.
Senator Thune spoke on this earlier today. Let's play this out. This is 45 seconds long.
On a path that could culminate in a deal? Yes. Will they need more time to get there? Absolutely.
Now, we understand that since then, we have seen many lawmakers leaving Capitol Hill, as Pergram said in his piece, 10-day break. So we will see what comes in the immediate term. Let's bring in Christian Daytalk. He's a White House reporter with the Washington Examiner. You know, Republicans hold the majority in both chambers of Congress, Christian. So how do Democrats have the leverage to block this?
Well, this is simple, Austin, and it has everything to do with polling, and it feels like it's been forever since the unfortunate, tragic killing of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. But ultimately, this is what this is all about, because I think it was John Fetterman in Chad's package who pointed out, you know, ICE has actually already been funded for this upcoming year. They got way more funding than they typically do back when the president signed the big, beautiful bill into law on July 4th. So ultimately, this is a political stand from Democrats, and I'm not so sure that come November, you know, voters will reward them for taking a stand at the moment. I do think it's important to drill down on the specifics of what's being negotiated. These reforms that Democrats are calling for at ICE, in addition to the body cams, enhanced training for new officers, readily available identification, either in the form of badges or nameplates for ICE officers. And on top of that, an end to racial profiling. I do think that these are items that the White House, you know, despite some of the hemming and hawing from President Trump and others in public, might readily come around to. The one demand that I think is an absolute non-starter for Republicans and for President Trump is the use of judicial warrants requiring them for migrant arrests. That would ultimately stop the deportation agenda fully in its tracks, that they have to go to the courts and demand paperwork every time they want to apprehend one of these criminal illegal immigrants. So I'm surprised.
So this is basically a very certain thing that we're going to see a shutdown here for DHS. It looks like it's certain. It's being reported. So anyways, we're not going to stew in that. We're going to get to this last story here, and it's actually a very, very quick update. So while I pop this up, I'm going to also get ready to raid somebody. So I'm going to pop this up and then do that. So here we go. Give me a sec. 3, 2, 1.
As we move on to some other news here, as we're learning, a second U.S. aircraft carrier is being sent to the Middle East. And here is what we're learning from the Associated Press. They're reporting that the United States will send the world's largest aircraft carrier to the Middle East to back up another already there, putting more American firepower behind President Trump's efforts to coerce Iran into a deal over its nuclear program. Here's some additional information. The USS Gerald R. Ford's planned deployment to the Mideast comes after Trump only days earlier suggested another round of talks with the Iranians was at hand. Those negotiations didn't materialize as one of Tehran's top security officials visited Oman and Qatar this week and exchanged messages with U.S. intermediaries. Already, Gulf Arab nations have warned any attack could lead to another regional conflict in a Mideast still recovering from the Israel-Hamas war in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Iranians are beginning to hold 40-day mourning ceremonies for the thousands killed in Tehran's crackdown on nationwide protests last month, adding to the internal pressure faced by the Islamic Republic. The Ford's deployment will put 2 carriers and their warships in the region. Already, the USS Abraham Lincoln and its guided missile destroyers are in the Arabian Sea. It marks a quick turnaround for the Ford, which President Trump sent from the Mediterranean Sea to the Caribbean last October as the administration built up a large military...
Yeah, I can't remember, but I had a buddy of mine that worked on an aircraft carrier, a large one, actually a couple of them. But nonetheless, I can't remember the exact amount of people that are on them, but I think it's like somewhere like 5,000 people. You know, that's a lot of fucking people on a ship.
Presence in that lead up to the surprise raid last month that captured then Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. President Trump said yesterday that he warned Iran that failure to reach a deal with his administration would be, quote, very traumatic. Iran and the United States held indirect talks in Oman last week. And President Trump said earlier this week that he was considering sending a second carrier strike group to the Middle East. President Trump held lengthy talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday and said he insisted to Israel's leader that negotiations with Iran need to continue. Netanyahu is urging the administration to press Tehran to scale back its ballistic missile program and end its support for militant groups such as Hamas and Hezbollah as part of any deal. The USS Ford set out on deployment in late June 2025, which means the crew will have been deployed for 8 months in 2 weeks' time. It is unclear how long the ship will remain in the Middle East, and the White House didn't immediately respond to a request for comment as of this morning. So we continue to follow that breaking news here as well. All
right. So, of course, that is where we lead up to right now. So we have done our job for the week. Thank you guys so much for making these fucking shows happen. I'm very, very appreciative of that. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys stick around. We're going to be rating our buddy JS Urban Adventure. I think he's reviewing some debates or whatever the case is. So make sure you guys let him know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. And listen, until tomorrow, actually, because tomorrow morning is members only, Saturday morning. But we're not going to be back with any of this shit. We're going to be having a good time for members only is what we always do. And then we'll get back to reality Monday morning for more of the world's madness as we continue down our truth-seeking adventure, man. So very appreciative of you guys. We'll see you guys here in a little bit. And be safe, everybody. And God bless everyone. We'll see you guys. Be safe. And action.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning.